morning, good morning. Newsbot is for sure down. Unless you guys can hear it.
In a phone call with Pakistan's
Oh,
army commander.
we're at our 90 pivot here. There's potential for a bid. I don't know. Listen, guys, this is the most news-driven garbage market I've ever experienced. We're back into balance highs. Let's see if we get a bid. But there's only so much that I can do. This is just not it, man. I just don't know.
Saudi Arabia say they've intercepted 9 drones over the past hours.
I honestly don't know if this is going to last. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, maybe we have a little bit more upside, but I mean, like, there's only so much more we can go up. Yeah, the market, man. I mean, like, you have to just look at it from a breadth perspective. That's why I just brought this up. I mean, like, regardless if you think the market's going to go up forever, we're coming up into overbought territory here across the board on both the 5 and 20. Got a little bit more room that we can push up for sure, but like this is really the only context that you need. Like there isn't any argument to be made. Like this is how the market works. It oscillates from oversold to overbought. So we have a little bit more room regardless into these highs. But even once we get here, we expect another rotation down. That's just how the market works. It's how it's worked forever, right? Like there's no arguing this concept. Um, so we have room for sure, but not much. Uh, yeah. So this will be interesting. But yeah, 90s are bidding at our top of balance here on NQ. Why did an alarm just go off? That's the real question here. Yeah, I mean, like we'll play upside and go with trend because we're not stupid, but like I just don't know how long this can last, and I don't know if this is now. You have to realize like how big of a gap we just made. Like there is a good chance that today might just be us going sideways here. Um, so we'll have to just be ready for this because this is an entire gap of our lower range that we've now pushed back up into these highs, this multi-week and multi-month balance at this point. We're just back into these highs where we've rejected over and over and over again. And I mean like the economy's in terrible shape, right? Like yes, we've pushed and people are excited and money's coming back in and we're squeezing shorts, right, et cetera, et cetera. But nothing in the overall regime has changed. Like we're in a worse place than before. like, you know, like nothing good has happened from this.
So according to Al Haddad, a new Israeli airstrike has just hit Al Samaya in Tyre, southern Lebanon.
So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens once this settles, because excitement's only going to last so long, and then markets will get rational. Um, and again, like that, nothing about what I just said is overtly bearish, but it does mean that I'm not really expecting this secondary leg up here if we just want to balance here like this and then rotate our multi-week balance again to confirm that we actually want to hold this. I could definitely see something like this happening. It just really depends on how bearish people are feeling because, right, like if we do want to do another leg up, then yeah, we're going to head up to this LVN first, squeeze another leg up if we can continue to hold here at 90. That makes sense, right? We're holding our bow high. We'll play it as a balance high hold. We'll look for that look above. If we get this look above, then we expect a push into this VPOC here, right? And into our ADR and into this LVN. That makes sense. Like, okay, yeah, we held the top of balance. Let's play it like so. But if this holds resistance and we start to rotate down, I'm definitely going to be watching for this push to our 25K and then reoffer of this balance high for this rotation through our range, right? And then we can play that down just for the multi-week balance rotation, right? So that's kind of how I'm going to have to go about playing this is, do we hold our edge highs? If so, we play upside. If failure, right, and lower high here and push below 90s, then I'm going to be looking for the rotation down. Just to play the balance. Like you got to respect where we're trading. And until I see either a push over our highs here, over 220, I'm going to play this as just choppy resistance for rotations down.
Iran is weighing response to Israel's ceasefire violations. Iran's far cites security source on ceasefire violations.
I'm just going to post this in chat so we've got it as a reference point. But it's just the same thing that we've been playing for weeks and 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 weeks. Nothing new. All right. What did I just click? What did I just do? Okay. Well, that's annoying. Can I control Z that? Is that? Oh, thank God. Okay. Okay, those are your main levels for NQ. I'm gonna do yeses now as well. Pretty clear absorption above us. 90's trying to flip here. See if that can hold. If it does, then we'll be looking for a move down to 25K from the top of our balance. Watching our value edges on both ES and NQ for offer. 50 seconds until new 15s. It is freezing, by the way. Unlucky. It is actually freezing. It is 32 degrees. Hello? Oh my god. Hmm. That's what I'm saying. Brother, this market is so thin. Jesus. New 15s have opened. Watching our offer at POC of previous candle here. Just watching to see what we do. We have a clear seller who is into these highs. Just keeping our eye on that.
Trump to PBS says Hezbollah and Lebanon will get taken care of too.
Okay. Offer sitting at 95s right now here on NQ. Needs to get below 75 and sweep. We need to see a reoffer below 75 for anything new. Let's see what we can do here. Bid is at 75s. Needs to flip it if we're going to go down. Offer 95 to 110 right now. 75 bid still holding. Clear absorption there. Just watch our CR reaction into 95 to 110. It's where sell side should be sitting, just between these two. Need to see a sweep below 75s for continuation down. It's very clearly two-sided right now between our value edge and our POC on the daily. POC on the daily being this 95, where it's trying to drift down to here. It's just POC of previous candle as well. Watching to see if we're getting an offer into this, and then if we can then sweep below for this continuation down, or if this buyer here at 75s is going to be able to hold, and we're going to be able to then push back up above value of our previous candle over 130 rotations up. We should expect that the offer tries to sit into here. Keep an eye on this edge here. I'm out my first one there into 75s from 95. Watching to see if we can get this sweep below, just like we talked about, for follow through. I'm out two. One runner here, 95 average. Stop at 110. Watching to see if we can reoffer this. We gotta show interest below, or it doesn't really matter. I've got this one runner, just in case, but we'll see. It's like a 50-50. I get stopped out on this last contract. Any look below 75s has just been eaten so far.
According to shipping sources, Iran's Navy message says ship owners need to receive permission from Iran to transit or they will be targeted and destroyed.
All right, that's $1,000 right there on the last contract again.
According to shipping sources,
I'm
several
looking for
vessels in the
25K.
Gulf received messages claiming to be from Iran's Navy saying Hormuz is still closed.
Oh boy. Oh boy. This is us battling on our edge. Remember, 90 is the flip, right? So we just have to get below 75 for this move down to 25k, or like we're just going to continue to absorb here, and then we'll have to go back up to our higher seller for a continuation. So we'll have to see like ES into 820 to 828 first, retest that before we could go down. Same thing on NQ, where if we continue to absorb and 75s go bid again, then we'll have to stop me out here first and head back up to 150 before we can go down. It's a big pivot, right? Remember, like this is the edge that we're testing into right now. So have we done everything to make this a bearish move into our highs? Yeah, right. We rejected our 220 edge. We put in a lower high. We're now offering our 90s. So if we can get this, then we'll look for that rotation down to at least 25k for that rebid, and then we'll look for that offer, right? So this is just a bit of a an iffy area because we don't know which way we're going to go, but we have a good understanding that we'll probably head down to at least here, even if we then go up afterwards. So I'm just really keeping an eye on it. That's why I've got one runner left for this, for a potential move down, just in case, but it's a tight stop because I understand that like There's very clearly absorption here, and we have some divergence in our market with ES holding our lows from our previous candle, right? But I don't know. We'll see. If 75 goes bid here, like it's gonna kind of be rough in the open of this new 15. So just gotta watch. The issue is, excuse me, like we need to pretty clearly flip this, because if this is now our support, then we might have to come up first, retag this sell, and then go down. I'm just playing off of our 15-minute structure where we're like very clearly seeing stronger sellers above us as of right now, holding POC to value of our previous candles. Now opening at our POC to value of our previous candle with this liquidity trapped above, right? So like to me, even if this is very choppy, we're still seeing all of the context clues that like the seller is still absorbing into these highs, and that this POC to value is still holding as our offer. So it's like as long as this is kind of still holding context wise, I still see this as you know, just where we'll absorb and then we'll rotate down once we can actually push. That'll lead us to that target. But again, like I've already taken off two, so just let this thing play out. If I get stopped, it's not the end of the world, but really keeping our eye on this liquidity here. I'm just going to highlight it just for context. I know this is getting a little messy, I'm sorry, but I want you to be able to visualize it on the 15 as we push into it and see what we do. Oh, God, can I just move this over real quick? Get rid of all this.
Iran's Tasnim news agency, citing unnamed source, says Iran will withdraw from ceasefire agreement if attack on Lebanon continues. So again, seeing Iran's Tasnim news agency, citing unnamed source, saying Iran will withdraw from ceasefire agreement if attack on Lebanon continues.
Do you see what I mean? Are we able to visualize this off the 15 and why we were looking for this? So like if you look, like this is just us tagging into POC to value of that candle, and we're into that absorption, so we can see that seller, that buyer completely offsides and continuing to be absorbed. Yeah, great. And then you just allow that run to play down to 25k. Watch ES into our lows. There's very clearly a bid that needs to flip here, or we're just going to continue to find a strong reaction into these lows for the short term. Once we see 75s hold offer, which is what we're attempting to
Iran's
do right
Tasnim
now.
site source are saying that the country's armed forces are identifying targets to respond to Wednesday's attack by Israel against Lebanon.
Able to see that next leg down, but until then, right, like there's just very clearly someone willing to take in. You need to see this offer lower. But as long as you're playing off of that top edge, risk is pretty tight. And then you just allow it to play. We have a potential buyer trapped here above 15s on ES. But we need to see a sweep below 10s for more. But as soon as we do, if this 15 guy stays off sides, could be interesting. This liquidity that's into 15 to 18 on ES is what we're watching.
According to Tasnim, citing source, stopping the war at all fronts, including Lebanon, was part of the 2-week ceasefire agreement with the US.
Let's watch as we push into this 15 liquidity. It's 15 to 19 is well, I want to see if we're gonna absorb into that on ES, or if there's gonna be no change.
According to 2 Pakistani sources, US delegation led by JD Vance and Iranian delegation led by Kalibaf and Arachi to arrive in Pakistan's Islamabad on Thursday. The Dow Jones Transport Average Index hits record high, last up 3%.
Keeping my eye on this.
Pakistan Prime Minister Sharif says, I urge all parties to exercise restraint and respect the ceasefire for 2 weeks. Pakistan Prime Minister Sharif says violations of ceasefire undermine the spirit of peace process. So leading up to the EIA crude oil inventories, a reminder, US API from last night, crude oil stock change was with a build of 3.719 million compared to the prior build of 10.3 million. EIA crude oil inventories forecast a build of 0.5 million, prior a build of 5.451 million, with a range of a build of 4.835 million to a draw of 2 million. Gasoline inventories forecast a draw of 1.55 million, prior a draw of 0.586 million. Distillate inventories forecast a draw of 1.25 million, prior a draw of 2.11 million, and Cushing inventories prior a build of 0.52 million.
My first risk off on ES here at 809 for 1-to-1.
Iran's press TV, citing a source as saying that Iran will punish Israel for attacks against Hezbollah in violation of ceasefire.
Filled on my first contract. Trade is now free. Still short on NQ, but now also on ES, based off of our 815.
According to the New York Post, Trump says peace talks to start in Pakistan very soon.
This is the liquidity that I was watching. That's trapped in those highs. Just watching to see if we can flip this on our lows or if we're going to continue to absorb here. Unsure, but we're 1-to-1. See what happens. No change on our NQ pathing.
So a bit more info to this New York Post article. Trump told the Post that he expects peace talks with Iran to happen in Pakistan very soon, following the Tuesday ceasefire, but that Vice President JD Vance may not attend due to security concerns. Pakistan has proposed a summit in Islamabad as early as Friday after Trump's negotiation team, including Vance and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, worked with the nation leaders to negotiate an end to the 39 days of fighting.
We're just looking for a sweep now in ES for that follow through. Do you see what I'm talking about on ES with what I posted? Of why I was looking for that lower offer there at 15 to 18 into those highs? Or no? It's fine if you don't. I was just wondering if that makes sense to you. Yeah, on the 15. But I mean, even on the 30, like, why am I looking for that offer to lower there into those highs? What's the context? Well, it's our edge of our node that we're building out, right? Where the LVN is, but it's also that wick high, and we're looking to see if this like seller is going to sit here at the top of our balance. And then we're watching to see if sell side sits with these buyers offsides into these highs. Right, this is our previous lows where we found our bid for the rotation up on the smaller time frame, but it's also just context wise, like where I'm looking to see if these guys are no trapped. And I'm watching as we push into it if we're going to then rotate this range down. So like our risk is very tight here. It allows us to be able to play off of those previous highs.
According to an EU
See if
official,
we can
toolbox
maintain
of
it
concrete actions to help
or the
EU
rotation
countries
down.
mitigate the impact of Iran crisis on oil markets is being prepared.
Right.
1 minute remaining. I'll be leading with EIA crude oil inventories.
Because now we're watching just like, are these guys cut off sides? And if so, can we see a secondary seller step in here below 10s? That's going to lead to this having an actionable secondary move, right? If we can start to speed up where this absorption is occurring. So that gives us like super limited risk into these highs, just like where these guys got absorbed last, right? Then we just look for secondaries to step in, and then that'll lead to our move down. So that allows me to have like super tight risk into our high edge, take off for 1-to-1 here, into our bottom of range, and then look for them to try to sweep these this absorption low. And then that allows us to be in like the best possible point.
10 seconds. A build of 3.081 million, a build of 3.081 million compared to the forecasted build of 0.5 million. Gasoline inventories, a draw of 1.589 million, a draw of 1.4589 million compared to the forecasted draw of 1.55 million. Distillate inventories, a draw of 3.144 million, a draw of 3.144 million compared to the forecasted draw of 1.25 million. EIA crude Cushing inventories, a build of 0.024 million, a build of 0.024 million.
It's the same thing on NQ, right? Like this is why I'm short still on NQ, based off of what we talked about, right? Like this is our footprint on NQ. What am I seeing into these highs? Why do I care about that 95 here? But like we're seeing like this absorption on each and every one of these candles, right, into this edge. So I'm just
Iran's
like,
FAR news agency says oil tankers passing through Hormuz have been stopped after Israel's ceasefire breach. So again, Iran's FAR news agency says oil tankers passing through Hormuz have been stopped after Israel's ceasefire breach.
it gives me like a pretty clear context to play where like there's this seller here at
Seeing a little bit
110s
of strength in WTI crude
and
off
then
the
our
back of that
bid at
headline.
95s.
A little bit of weakness in the
So
S&P
as we
500.
come up into that, I'm just looking for this to then offer, and then we're looking at that 75 here as where we're looking for that secondary move to occur once we actually are able to push below, right? So I'm just playing off of these deltas on our side because we can see that we have a very clear profile or a node that we're building. So context wise is I want to be playing off of this edge into this node high, and I'm looking for our secondary offer at our node low if we're going to do anything new, or we'll just treat this as balance in between these two, right? So if I can get this secondary move below 75s, then that should lead to a downside move down into this 25K liquidity down here, right? Do you guys see that or no?
We have posted the EIA weekly inventories report on the feed for those interested.
Okay, I'm posting both those as examples just so that you guys have them of why I'm in these trades. Do you see like what that looks like now in the 5? Now this is what that looks like. Yeah. On EOS. Again, like it's not pretty on these like shorter time frames, but on like the 5 and 15, like everything looks perfectly normal. And remember, like our idea for context wise was this, right? That's the top of our multi-week balance, and we're looking for that offer at 90s to try to hold for this rotation down to 25K at least, and then from there we'll get a decision, either like a bounce and then reoffer of the same pivot, right, or just a rotation through. And regardless, then we're in like the best possible entry with very minimal risk. 95 to 110 was the offer there, right? Like it's like minimal points. And then same thing on ES. What did I just do? I just click things, man. I don't even mean to. All right. Yeah, my hand locks up. I've got to be careful.
Coming here from Press TV saying, by violating the ceasefire while simultaneously attacking Lebanon and Iran, this regime is raising the cost of the agreement for the United States. So again, coming in from Press TV saying, by violating the ceasefire while simultaneously attacking Lebanon and Iran, this regime is raising the cost of the agreement for the United States.
Yeah, great. Good job. I'm watching 790s NES, 25Ks on NQ.
US heating oil futures pair losses after EIA data shows larger than expected draw.
I don't know, man. I have zero faith in our government, so I don't know. I'm so done. I'm so done. I think our government is just I think everyone's just way too scared. The status quo is just it's just the way of life at this point. um until we like calm down news wise, I am really going to try to start to stick to just like 2.5 hour sessions or like 2 hour sessions from 10 to 12. But I can't be here the whole day listening to this garbage. I really want to like maintain edge, and like staying here till 3 every day is like exhausting me mentally, mentally exhausting me. It's just not worth it to just sit here for and listen to this garbage and be here in this market. So I want to just like really reiterate that I'm going to be doing just my normal shorter sessions where I have the most edge, and then I'm dipping out and going to live my life because I just like don't want to trade this market. So I'm trying to get out as fast as possible. But Mario, of course, will still be here from his 12:30 to close. But for the most part, I'm going to be trying to be trading 10 to 12 and then leaving as fast as possible because get me the hell out of here. Yeah. I'm just giving you guys an FYI because fuck trading this. Just being real. Like, I just cannot be bothered to sit here and listen to Trump's garbage or like Caroline Levitt's garbage or just Iran's garbage. Just like, get me out, man. Get me out. Yeah, I think that that's fine. It's just like understand like when things make sense, it makes sense to stay longer. When the market's irrational and everything is a headline, just like, you know, make your money and leave. It's better to just make your money and leave than trying to do anything else. Also, can we talk about these moon photos that came out? Holy. Have you guys seen these? God, they're pretty. Look at these things, man. It's like straight from the Interstellar movie. Golly. Gorgeous. Like those are gonna win like photo of the year. Bro's not even a photographer, and he just like won. Like this is it. That's the peak for this year. Like, you can't top that. Gorgeous. Oh my god, did I see it? Yeah. Jeez, it was so awkward, man. I mean, we don't know if it was intentional or not, or if there was a, you know, I mean, there's lots of context. Like they don't know if the communication's broken or not, but the silence was clear. It was definitely awkward, regardless. It was very clear, and the silence was clear. Yeah, but it makes sense for them to be just like waiting, just in case communication was cut off. I mean, they're like a bazillion miles away, right? Like they're gonna let the president finish speaking. Wait, did you guys see that they made an SNL UK where like, okay, well they're actually like making fun of America in it. Yeah, like it's like they're talking about all of the things that like SNL is too scared to talk about because they're scared that they're gonna lose funding and get taken off air like Colbert. So SNL UK now is I mean it's very new. I think there's only like 3 or 4 episodes out, but Tina Fey hosted the first one. Like it's definitely still a bit rough, but it is happening. I love British humor.
So, according to the FT, White House pushed Pakistan to broker temporary Iran ceasefire.
Oh boy.
So, a bit more info into this article from the Financial Times. The White House pushed the idea of a temporary ceasefire with Iran even as Trump escalated threats against Islamic Republic and claimed it was begging for a deal, according to people familiar with the talks. For weeks, the Trump administration was leaning on Islamabad to convince the Iranians to give to agree to a pause in fighting where it could reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The people said Pakistan's crucial role as a Muslim majority neighbor and intermediary was to sell it to Tehran. Iraq raises May Bashar medium crude premium to Asia to $17.30 a barrel.
Rory
Iraq raises May Basra heavy crude premium to Asia to $15.20 a barrel, and Iraq raises May Kirkuk grade crude premium to Europe to $15.30 a barrel, and Iraq raises May Kirkuk crude premium to Americas to $10.15 a barrel. Qatar Defense Ministry says it was targeted on Wednesday by 7 missiles and drones launched from Iran.
I'm just waiting for this guy to stop talking. Yeah, I heard that as well. The cuck. There's a Streamio add-on called UK panel TV shows that you should download. Yeah. Holy, we're almost at target, boys. It's up to you if you want to take off here. I don't know. I mean, just like move stops down, but like we are incredibly profitable with minimal risk, with multiple entries. Just gotta trust the process. It's $1,000 a contract on ES from 15s and NQ from 95s. What is your move, bud? Yeah, I'm flat NQ. I just am in ES now from our 15. Beautiful. Context-wise, nothing has changed either, right? I'm still just holding POC to value of previous candle, absorbing into highs. Every candle we trap, right? And we just continue to rotate down with that trap liquidity.
So, according to Al Jazeera, Pakistani Minister of Planning and Development says Israel started this conflict and has started other conflicts.
True. Very true. Yo, what's up, club? Be right back.
Kuwait says a number of facilities of Kuwait Petroleum Corporation and Energy Ministry was attacked by Iranian drones on Wednesday.
Projecting value to POC of previous candle here on NQ and EOS. Just continuing our downtrend.
According to Axios, Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire agreement with Iran. Kuwait says these attacks targeted several sites, including power stations, resulting in severe material damage to infrastructure facilities and generation units and fuel tanks.
If you didn't get filled at 25K the first time, another opportunity has been given to you. Understand context-wise, we'll watch to see if we get our
Kuwait
bounce here
says fires
for a
broke
retest
out
of
in some of these
90s,
sites.
or if we're going to rotate down to next target, down into 865. I'm unsure. All I know is that this was the top of our multi-week balance, what we rejected, and then we offered at our 90s. That's just where we entered. We are now gone to first target, 25K. What happens from here? Anyone's guess. I would expect that we find some sort of bid here and then retest our edge, but we could just keep going. I don't know. This is what I'm expecting to happen. Again, we talked about, but we've got lots of room. I am just in ES now. I'm flat NQ into 25K. So if we're going to be following my
Traders
pathing,
placed $950 million bet on oil price falling just hours ahead of US-Iran ceasefire.
we'll get some sort of like rotation like this on the higher time frame. Something like that. But like I said, this is just me projecting. We'll see what happens. But if we're going to be following if we're going to be doing business as usual, we expect a move like this. Some sort of absorption here into this 80 to 90. Like this isn't a trade plan. This is just an idea of structural pathing, right? Our trade plan has already been played out. Now I wait for context. Yeah, I can't. It should be pinned. But yeah, I can share it again. It should be in the pins for this channel. No?
US stocks extend gains. The S&P 500 up 1.99%.
Does that work or no?
The Nasdaq 100 pairs gains to 2.5% have been up as much as 3.5%.
This is ES target here into 90s. I'm not closing. I'm just staying in this. We've got such a good entry, but we'll see what happens. I'm flat NQ holding ES. Next target is 83 into our single prints. 82, 83. That's our single prints on TPO. And then 770 below that. Again, we have so much potential room to to fall. This is just top of our multi-week balance, so I want to hold a runner, and I still want to play around to our context. But other than that, I'm just gonna chill. Again, we held our weekly highs. We're playing it as a rotation down. We'll watch to see what happens here. On the hourly, right? We've got so much context.
Saudi oil pipeline damage said to be limited after the drone strike. So Saudi oil loading at Yanbu continue as normal on Wednesday. And furthermore, the Saudi East-West pipeline was not shut down after the strike. Tesla shares turn negative.
This is our single prints here at 82 on ES. I mean, there's really not much here until we either like come up to retest this boy up here up at 20s, or we get this lower high offer at 25K just as a structural level. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But we hit our ES singles and immediately bounced. There's not really a lot of liquidity here. I think our O20 edge, excuse me, is probably where we're headed. But maybe we reject 25K. What's a single print? It's where we one time framed up on a TPO chart. So we never went to, for that period, we only had upside action and we never retested it. So that's what a single print is. Yeah. I might be able to show that on TradingView. I think they've got TPO charts now. These are single prints. This area where it's only B's and it doesn't say AB, right? So each one of these is a period of 30 minutes. So if you look at where this 82 is, do you see how we just go into these single prints and then we immediately bounce at our H, right? That's our current session that we're in. Right? So we bounced off our single prints, which is here at this 82. This is where we one time framed up into this upper distribution. So it's a good area to like look as a reference point for potential PT for bounce. Most like I don't want to say most, but a lot of larger or higher time frame traders are using a TPO chart. So the reason why I trade 15-minute candles is because it gives us two potential interactions to play within each 30-minute period of our TPO. So this is why I use that. I just like to break down TPO prints into two 15-minute periods. But it's why Mario mentions the 30-minute chart, because those are your TPO blocks. This is where I would expect sell side to be if it was going to be anywhere on NQ, like we talked about, into 020, 050. This is where our liquidity rests. ES 750 contracts sitting at 804 as we push up. POC holding as supportive on ES, just rotating. Watch to see how we interact as we push into our PVZ here on NQ. See if we can get some sort of re-entry going as we push into 20 to 50. Yeah, good job, man. We captured some really great moves. You should definitely be done, for sure. And then we watch just to see if we get some absorption in here, and then we rotate back, or if this is going to now be offside liquidity below, and then we are able to build, and then we come back up to that 90 like we talked about on the higher time frame. So this is where we watch to see if sell side is going to step down, or if we rotate back up to 090. If we reject here at 20 to 50, this is where we would expect that offer to be. If not, then we'll go all the way back up to 090 for the VWAP reversion, just like we have pathed on our higher time frame. Yeah. Rejecting so far where we need to see a bit more downside on Russell here, or again, this is just where we'll absorb for the next leg up. Really keeping an eye on our flip here. If we can absorb into this red box and then look below, right? This is just that POC to value area where we saw lots of liquidity resting. We've got this buyer who's potentially trapped into these highs. We can see on footprint, right? But we need to see that offer sweep below this 25, or this is where we'll absorb, and then we'll do that last leg up instead. So it's context-wise, we really need to see liquidity absorbed here, right, into this area, and then we need to see that offer then a lower for that sweep below for that continuation. Or again, like we're going to do the opposite, which is flag here, and then look up, and then rotate back up into our 90s instead. So really important that we see the offer willing to take in here. Buyers offsides, right? Like there are right now. And then the sweeper below that leads to that downside on a very clear reoffer with full market participation. Same thing on ES, just into our edge. We're watching to see if value is able to hold. Can we absorb and then rotate, or is this going to get back in and then come back up? Unsure. But RTY not showing as much weakness as we need as of yet, but we do have good context with these guys into this area where we expected this absorption to be, right? So just keeping our eye on that and understanding that that is the entirety of this play. Is either the offer is able to step down here and defend this and trap this liquidity here for a lower high, or we will fail here and then we will rotate back up to our previous
Rubio
offer.
met with NATO's RUT today and discussed Iran operation. Rubio and Rutte discussed increased coordination with NATO allies.
You should, this is like good visual context as well on ES, right? We're looking for that absorption into that pivot, right? But we now need to see a seller sweep us down just like last time that we tried to trap into highs. Like there's very clearly a bid that was there, right? We can see that liquidity. We now need to see this lower offer, or this is where we'll bounce right into this 93. This is that POC of previous candle where we absorbed. So we have to watch this now on this edge because we know that this is our value to POC of our previous candle. So this is now our pivot at our lows as we push down, where you would be looking for your first risk off. Now that we've come back up into this, we need to see if we can sweep below this participant, and then we can go for a takeout of these wick lows for further context. But you see how that gives us a great re-entry? Looking for that, and why we can expect that absorption to be there. I'm taking off my first risk here on NQ, just to make this trade free. And I'm still in my ES from 15s, no change. But again, like this is where you'd great first risk off here into our value low to POC of previous candle. If we can flip this, then we get a next leg where we take out lows. If we hold here, then this is going to be where a higher low establishes itself, right? And then we'll have to look to see if we're just gonna like create a new balance here, or if this can flip and then take out lows. Unsure. This is why we take off our first risk, and then we figure out what we're gonna do. But understanding, like, again, like I closed longs into our 25K. We then use where I closed my long as our reference point on a retest once we start to see this reversion back up. We can see on our footprint, like this is where that liquidity was in the last attempt. We can see that this is where there's a ton of pressure. So this is the only area I'm looking for an interaction as we push back in for that lower high. And PVC shows the same thing, right? With even if my drawings weren't here, like we get the same context. This is where we're looking for that rejection into our value low, right? It's the same thing. Like that everything is done for you with our indicators without me having to be here context wise. Right? This is your reversion trade. This is your reversion edge where you expect that liquidity to be resting. Now we just watch to see what happens, just like we talked about on ES, for that potential higher low here into our value to POC on our previous candle, as well as our reversion zone, right? Context-wise, everything is lining up. Our edge is holding. We are now looking to see if this bid is going to be able to hold our reversion edge, right? This green box. I didn't draw that. That is just our indicator. But that's also what I have pathed. So we're watching to see if this is going to hold and we're going to continue to rotate, or if we can flip it and then hold this as offer to break lows. I don't have the answer for you, right? All I can do is give you edges to play, and then we take off risk and then let things play out. Into our 25K, off our rejection of our pivot, watching to see if this is going to hold or if we're going to be able to flip for more. Yes, just holding our edge like we talked about, right? Like it's just, we're building out new context as we rotate down from here.
The US Embassy in Baghdad says Iran-backed Iraqi armed groups carried out drone attacks near diplomatic facility and Baghdad airport on Wednesday.
Rejecting POC of previous candle here on ES, rotating back down to our low. Offer holding on our value low on RTY. We need that downtrend to persist if we're going to have anything new, or we'll just chop here, building out a new node down here. Again, it's our 25K on the higher time frame. This is a big area. So we just watch for context. Is our seller going to be able to continue to sit here and absorb into these highs? If so, right, we have a good edge to play off of. But understanding that our bid is very clearly below us on both NQ and ES, and until we see a breach below on ES with Russell follow through to the downside, that will probably just chop. Right? We're building out context. So without follow through across the board, we should expect that this area is just a chop zone while we wait to figure out if we can have another leg down, or if buyers are going to be able to hold these lows, right, and then rotate us back up to our larger seller above up at 090. But very clear absorption as we're pushing into these highs. As of right now,
the Iran ceasefire.
Just like we have very clear pivot on ES, right? With VWAP as resistance above. So it's just like, are we going to oscillate here for a while we build out this value edge and show that there's no interest above? If so, right, that leads to our next leg down over time. But like if these buyers want to hold this value low and these lows, right, and we can get through this absorption, then all we're going to do is rotate back up into our offer above, right? So you just have to understand context-wise, like, is Russell falling still? The answer is no, right? We're making higher lows. So like, is NQ absorbing here? Yeah, definitely. Right? Are we preparing for potentially another leg down? Yeah, we're still in a higher time frame trend to the downside intraday, right? But we're in an overall gap from the upside.
From the Wall Street Journal saying Israel was unhappy about the announcement and wasn't consulted on the terms of the deal.
We just have to treat this as a new balance where we have a very clear edge at our highs, we have an edge at our lows, and we play it and we respect it until proven otherwise. You know? And as soon as Russell starts to lose that momentum at our edge, and we actually have clear conviction to downside, then you can have clear conviction that we are going to break lows, right? But if Russell wants to continue to make higher lows and rotate up and get back inside value, then we should expect that price will do the same. Just be logical with your decisions. Bro, No Man's Sky just keeps adding features. Insane. Like, when are they going to stop working on this game? I don't understand. They just infinitely add content. We've got Pokemon now and No Man's Sky.
According to Axios, a senior American official said that the issue of continuing the fighting in Lebanon came up during a phone call between Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu last night during Trump's update on the ceasefire with Iran. Netanyahu raised the issue of Lebanon, and Trump did not express opposition to continue the fighting against Hezbollah.
So just to give context, this war is going to last, and the treaty or the ceasefire is not going to happen if Israel doesn't stop attacking Lebanon. Like there's no way that Iran doesn't restart this. I just want to want that to make sure that we understand that. Like that should be very obvious. Yeah. No, I mean there's no way. I mean XY there's anything else would be completely irrational. Like completely irrational. Like all we've done is fuck over the entire global economy and nothing has changed, right? Like it's the classic Trump 2 weeks, right? Like it's like we think Israel is gonna honor anything at this point. We trust Israel. Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, Israel has invaded I think 15 or 20% of Lebanon at this point, with no willingness to pull back, attacking major cities, with the excuse of Hezbollah, just like they did with Gaza, with what are we talking about? No, Iran isn't gonna let that happen. That's why I said nothing about our situation right now is bullish. It's just a reprieve and a rotation back into our previous balance, right? Like nothing has changed. We're just back into our multi-week balance. We're back into the holding pattern while we wait. Yeah, yeah, you gotta kill some of that put liquidity. You can't have people making money before we nuke, right? You gotta fuck over retail at least one more time. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so sick of this news driven fake, just let me load for my friends before I be irrational, just most manipulated garbage I've ever seen in my life. I don't want to be here, man. Let me get my couple trades in based off of structure and then let them manipulate the market for the rest of the day. I can't be bothered. I'm tired, man. Again, all you gotta do, I really want you guys to focus in on breath. Breath doesn't lie, right? It's something that I've talked about for years. But breath does not lie. So as we come back up into our overbought territory, just understand context wise, that's all we got, regardless of where we're gonna head. The market does not move outside of these parameters, regardless of where we're headed, right? We might make a higher low, but we maintain this breath. We have been. Like there's a point in which we just can't continue to buy. Things can't go up in a straight line. And we will then get another rotation down, and that'll give you context of like where you should be going, right? But like we have a little bit more room upside wise, but that doesn't have to be, you know, a straight line up. That could just be chop and maintain while stocks push higher for a little bit, and then we rotate back down. So I don't know. I would say don't try to perfectly time the market, but understand context wise that like this all made sense for a jump to happen. Things can only be so oversold or so overbought, right? Like these big moves down have reprieves, right? Like it just is. We can go back all the way. It just is what it is. The market moves and rotates from overbought to oversold since the beginning of this index. This is from 2007, right? Like everything is caked in, right? It is what it is. There's nothing crazy happening here. It's just how the market moves. Was trading like this during Trump's last term? No, it wasn't as bad. I mean, it was still like headline driven, right? But it was headline driven to the upside, and way less frequently. His last term was fine. You were basically just waiting for him to like see this is what the difference between Trump's last term and this term is that Trump would name individual stocks. Like he would just straight up call out a stock, and then you could just buy that stock, and it would go up for the next day. Um, and then that was the market. But now he's realized that he doesn't even just need to name an individual pharma company. He can just talk, right, and say some bullshit and manipulate the entirety of the market. But before, yeah, he would be like Eli Lilly, or he'd be like, or like some like random, you know, pharma company or oil company, and then it would just moon for the day, and that was the market that before. And we had the in his first term we had the Fed just infinitely bidding as well. So there was like no reason to be expecting any sort of like outwardly sized move to downside with infinite bid.exe on, where they were just printing money and throwing it into the economy. You know, economy with big E, as in the stock market, not the actual economy. But yeah, I think for the foreseeable future, we're gonna get most of our trading done between 10 to 11, and then the market's gonna kind of come to a settle till like I don't know 1 2 ish. And I just don't want to sit here for those like 2 to 3 hours in between, man. Like I can't be bothered. Get our good trading in and then get the fuck out. You know, like that is our mentality. Let's make our money and then leave. Just like don't be bothered with this. Like the midday chop is just how you screw yourself. And just like sitting here being miserable is just like why are we doing that to ourselves? Make your money, leave. Give yourself an hour, 2 hours, right? 10 to 12 if you want, really. But then leave, right? Like, remember, your job isn't to extract the most amount of money from the market on a daily basis. Your job is to extract just enough to meet your profit targets, to extract money from the prop firm, right? That is the context in which you're playing in. Remember, it's not about the overall market. It's about extracting money and meeting the criteria to take money out of the prop firm. So once you get that, right, once you hit that consistency goal, once you hit your daily goal, your job is to then stop trading. The prop firm wants you to keep trading the entire day. The prop firm wants you to continue to play and give some of that money back to the house, right? Your job is to be able to make your money, cash out, leave for the day, extract, right? Fuck everything else. Fuck the price action. Once you make your money, you do not look back at the market. Leave. Your goal is to be able to get to that payout, extract that payout. Nothing else matters. I cannot stress that enough. Do not look. You meet your goal, leave. It does not matter to you. Oh, but I missed this opportunity. No, it does not matter. Leave. As soon as you're able to hit your payout requirements, take the payout. Leave. Scale. Grow. Trade within your when you have edge. Do it again. They want you to stay the entire session. This is how they make money off of you. Because you keep blowing up. You keep giving it back. Don't allow it. All right, Russell ES top of range. We'll watch to see what happens here. Again, there's no downside until ES, RTY, and NQ have context together. NQ just pushing up. If we don't reject here into our 50s, then we'll rotate back up to 90 to 110 to retest our seller off of the failure here. Just watching to see if we can absorb into these highs and then rotate down. This is the same context as before. Russell still holding our value edge, no change. ES top of range. So if we see selling all together here, that would give us the context that we need for downside. If RTY is able to get back inside value, ES is able to hold a higher low back inside value, then we are going to rotate up higher first before we go down lower. Again,
to Axios, a US defense
we've already
official
talked
saying
about
the
this.
strike on the Iranian refinery wasn't conducted by the US or Israel.
It wasn't conducted by other. Who did it? Who did the strike? Wasn't me. I don't know, man. The entire time I was thinking it might have been you. We're probably going to 90 to 110 here. Just like we talked about. This is just the higher time frame pivot, rotating back up to retest our edge. If that edge holds, then you can look for this rotation through end of day. But again, like, it's just a failure to show and hold that interest below. And now our rotation back up to retest our pivot, our initial seller that rotated us down. And again, remember, we need context. If Russell doesn't have the momentum to the downside, then like what are we doing? Right? Like there's just no follow through. We can't rely on NQ alone to carry this market down. Same thing with ES at our lows, right? Like our pivot at our low held. We're rotating back up into our highs. We'll watch to see what happens here. But we have to trap before we can get our next leg down. So you just treat this as balance. And then we look to see if we have a catalyst, right? Someone offsides outside of our balance. And then we look to play the rotation through said balance. Because if we fail, right, we're just going to rotate back up to where liquidity was last. Right? And we have a very clear pivot of where liquidity was last, right? This is where we entered previously. So we'll watch to see how we interact as we push back up. But we want to see someone offsides, right? And that could happen here on a look back through. That would create that offside liquidity that we need, a catalyst outside of our range. Or this could hold, right? And then we'll have to come back up into these highs. But this is what we'll be watching for, some sort of, trap that happens for another leg down. On the hard time frame, we have this going to 90 to 110. So that's kind of what I'm expecting, just context-wise, unless something drastically changes, that this is just headed up to retest our seller, and then we'll look to see if we get another leg down like so, maybe. But it's really reliant on if ES and RTY want to just continue to channel up, right? Like if RTY just wants to keep going, then we'll keep going until that stops. I don't know if this is going to be very tradable on NQ until we see full market context moving to the downside. Just keep that in mind. We're pushing into midday. Ah, I misspelled it. You haven't heard that, Sauce? That's crazy. All right. Do you guys see why this area makes sense and why we've traded what we've done? What do we see on the daily here? This will be kind of like the last thing that I talk about today. What do we see on our daily profile compared to our monthly profile here? Why did this area at 25K make sense? And what do we see as we push into these highs? Do we see POC here on our daily profile to value right into our 90? Do we see us holding our value low here as well as POC on our monthly, our bigger profile? So as we push up into this, this is where we're going to be watching context wise for this. Oops, wrong tool. We've gotten our look below, our retest of our value edge, and our rotation up to now to POC. So as we push into POC on the daily profile and into our value high edge, we'll be watching to see if sell side sits here and can rotate us down, right, for further context to downside, or if this is going to be able to hold above and then rotate us back up, right? But this is now our edge where we'll watch to see how this interaction occurs as we push in this edge with context on both the daily as well as our monthly profile. Do we see that? Does that make sense? Of why we're watching for this rotation into this? Okay. Just want to like give clarity or if clarity is needed. We're just coming up to our original sell. And Russell into our VWAP as well.
EU's Kala says Iran crisis has shown need for stronger EU Gulf partnership.
There's 1,000 contracts sitting at 15s, which was our original short on ES. Remember, market can continue to go up until Russell loses momentum, but offer is clearly sitting here into 15s on ES for the short term. See if they'll pull. NQ has room, potentially up to like 110, 120. But we watch to see if we absorb here into our 80 to 110 area. Again, Russell into VWAP, POC, and our 30-second opening range above. We're watching for a loss of momentum. Break of these higher lows as we push into our previous seller. Now that we've fully rotated back up. We look for trapped liquidity. We look for our seller to sit again, and then we can position around it now that we've gotten this rotation. If you're long, right, this is where you're looking to risk off, leave runner. If you're short, this is where you're looking to see if sell side can sit into our previous sell, and if we can start to lead down. But very clear higher lows across the board. So until we see that flip and we see a POC kind of trap into these highs like we were doing before, right, we don't have context yet for a sell. We are holding POCs of our previous candles, right, and we're pushing up into our previous offer. We want to see price hold these highs. We want to see POC into the high of one of these candles. We want to see very clear absorption, right? And then we want to see a shift in our context where we're then holding price below our previous candle's POC, right? For that shift in value, just like we were doing on the downside, right? We were holding below on each candle. That gave us an understanding of we were going to continue to head down. Then we had a sideways distribution where we had trapped liquidity below, and then we rotated back up, back to our previous seller. So again, what do we want to see? We want to see this area absorb, right? We want to see this POC stick into these highs, and then we want to see the next candle close below, giving us another trend following signal. This is where we're looking for said signal to be, right? But we're still in an uptrend. We need to see that trapped liquidity for context, or you're just shorting an uptrend. Yeah, right. So just like always remember that, right? Like there's no reason you need to be in from the very tippity top. You can wait with context, right? Your edge is more than one variable. So are we where we want to be? Yes. Have we seen the weakness yet that we want to see? No. Have we seen the seller who's going to initiate this? No, not yet. So what do we just got to wait for the seller. We don't control the market, right? We trade around larger participants. So until they show up and show themselves, we don't have an entry. We just have context of, higher time frame context, but with no actual trigger. Offer sitting 090 on NQ. Into our edge. Yes, into our edge. So again, sell side is where they should be. We're just waiting to see if we can get some follow through here. Break these higher lows. Understand your risk, right? I don't want you guys to like preemptively load the boat. You can try small if you really want to. If you've got a, if you can't hold off, but understand your risk, right? Like we're still in an upside, still holding, still have better context once we have a bit more follow through. Again, remember, this is where we'll watch to see what happens to the POC to value on the daily profile, as well as our higher time frame edge on the hourly, which is this 90. Russell still has room. Yeah, I mean that's what else are you gonna do, right? Like, is it really gonna matter if our rotation that we're expecting from here is, you know, multiple 100 points? What's an extra 3 minutes?
Iran's foreign minister, in a call with Turkish counterpart, says Iran accepted the ceasefire as a basis for complete end of the war. That's coming from the foreign ministry.
These new blurbs on Twitter are nice. I don't know what the context is of when they pop up, but like this made with AI and paid partnership thing on some of these posts that I'm seeing, it's good context. I don't know if like you manually check those or if Twitter just knows. I don't really know how it works, but it's cool to see that. I mean, it's all AI slot, bud.
Iran's foreign minister tells Turkish counterpart that Tehran agreed to the ceasefire based on its 10-point plan as a basis for talks with the US. Iran's foreign minister says that if there's a seriousness from the US side, it will be possible to achieve an end to the war and establish lasting stability and security.
New 15s.
Meta debuts first AI model from prized superintelligence group.
Yeah, I mean, until Russell again loses uptrend, just to watch for context. We're still holding higher lows across the board, just pushing into our 110. Watch to see what happens once we take out highs. But this is just RTY pushing into daily POC. Again, remember, we're looking for trapped liquidity. We haven't seen that yet.
Seeing Meta shares quickly spike up 4.8% off of the back of that headline, Meta debuts first AI model from prized superintelligence group.
What does that headline even mean, man? Debuts first AI model from prized superintelligence group. What do we, what? Like, is that just like to hit every algo word for AI? Well, guys, what if we just name our company like Super Intelligence Group? Surely, surely that means our model has super intelligence. The only thing that matters here is if we trap outside of value and then rotate back below POC, or if we're going to hold value edge high for rotations back up to our target into this edge, just to give context. So all we're watching here is, do we have the ability to build outside of value, or do we absorb into these highs and shift our trend for rotations back through said range? That's all we're looking for. Again, we need a catalyst for this to make sense. Without a catalyst, then the uptrend just continues from our target where we closed our shorts. Now we wait. Do we trap outside of value and rotate back below, giving us another entry for the same trade once again? Or does this flip, and can we hold above for rotations back up into our highs? Right? Like, again, the higher time frame, none of this matters. This is all exactly what we want to see. So as we push in here, we'll just watch to see how we interact into our POC.
Trump just on Truth Social, just talking about the ceasefire agreement. It says numerous agreements list letters are being sent out by people that have absolutely nothing to do with the US. There is only one group of meaningful points that are acceptable to the US, and we will be discussing them behind closed doors.
Great.
Trump on around says these are the points that are the basis on which we agree to a ceasefire.
Okay, I actually have context on Meta's model now. It's called Muse Spark. Here's the thread. I thought they fired Alexander Wang. No? Guess not. All right. We're seeing some selling into our major offer here at 820. Just watching to see if we flip or if this holds. Higher lows still intact. Russell
Lebanon's
sideways.
Hezbollah says Israel's attacks on Lebanon affirm its right for response.
We have finally hit into our 110s on NQ. Looked above. I'm just watching to see how we interact here. Is this where we start to see some absorption to give us our next leg, or is this going to continue to go up, right? Higher lows are still intact, but we've now officially come into an area that I actually care about. I'm going to give this, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, and if I don't see it happen in that, then I'm going to dip out, and then I'll just keep an eye on it, but not be on stream as I go and do other things. Again, like, I really am not trying to sit here for till 3 o'clock. I want to be very clean with our time that we're live. I don't want to keep people here or make them feel like they have FOMO because I'm still streaming. I need to be here while I'm initiating trades, and then I need to leave. Because if I stay here, all of a sudden you guys think that you need to be here. I want you to get your money and get out. Stop trying to trade 12 to 2. It's awful. 10 to 12, and we dip.
Hezbollah says Israel's attacks on Lebanon will only strengthen the group's determination to resist and confront the enemy. Israel's military says it attacked a Hezbollah commander in Beirut.
Later, Basil. See if we flip back below our edge and get some context with some offside buyers up into our highs. Remember, this is exactly what we wanted to see. This is POC above us, right? With offside bids outside of our area of interest. We now need to see a flip back below if we're going to do this as our catalyst. We still don't have anything yet, but this is what we want to see. We have the start of a trade happening. Right? Like context-wise, think about it like this. This is now where we're watching to see if our offer can stick. Right? This is now your risk, where we're watching to see if sell side can step down. And then if we can get this secondary to really slam this below our 15s for continuation. Right? That's what we want to start to be looking for, is can we trap liquidity up into these highs? And can we see that offer step down back below? It's the same thing on NQ, right? We're watching to see, like, is this liquidity able to be trapped here? And can we get back below our 80 to 90 for this rotation down? This would give us our setup. Failure to do this is just going to be the bid happening right where we sold last. Buyers stepping up and then rotating us from this point with failure. But context-wise, like, that's the only way we get a shift.
Says if they're preparing heavy response to Israel's attack on Lebanon.
Let's see what we can do here, boys. Do we see that shift, though? Like, do you see what I'm talking about? Where you can start to see that shift from where the bid was on the trend up. And then we have context of where we're starting to look. We see that POC holding above. We have trapped liquidity above. We have that offer stepping down. It's like, this is now where you want to start looking for those interactions, because it now makes sense. Right? We need a catalyst. And now we watch our pivot here.
See Meta shares now extending gain to a session high of as much as 6.5%. According to Bahraini state news agency, Bahrain reopens airspace after closure due to developments in the region.
How are we feeling about that? Isn't it crazy what happens when you just wait for an actual trade with the plan? Watch for our reoffer, see if it sticks, and then let's do what we can. Let's see if we get this to actually start to gain some momentum down here now that we've flipped back below. Again, remember context-wise, right? It's exactly what we were talking about. It's just a failure to look above our value and our rotation down, and we'll probably get a retest of POC on the daily. Retesting our like 80 to 90 would be my guess, but regardless, right? Like we've already gotten that initiation from our look back in. Yeah, might as well, right? Watch our offer on our edge as we retest, as we expect the bounce, and then see if we get a secondary.
According to Iran's Noor News, air defenses have been activated in Tehran, Iran.
Yo, that ceasefire really lasted a long time, boys. Like I don't know, anyone who believed that ceasefire was actually going to happen is brain dead.
Iran's president told Pakistan's Prime Minister Sharif that Iran accepted a ceasefire proposal as part of its responsible and powerful approach, according to Iranian media.
How can you have a ceasefire that Israel doesn't agree to? I don't understand. Like until Israel is the one that proposes it, like I just don't believe it. Sorry. And even when they do propose it, I still won't believe it. If I'm being honest.
Iran's President Pezeshkian told Sharif, the PM Pakistan, that ceasefire in Lebanon is essential condition in the framework of the 10-point agreement with the US.
Retesting our edge here, off of a bounce at our lows.
Microsoft says AI voice command needs more work, according to Semaphore News. Iran's President Pezeshkian condemned ceasefire breaches in the Iranian islands of Lavan and Siri on Wednesday morning in call with Pakistan's PM Sharif.
The U.S. military has consumed 950,000 gallons of coffee during Operation Epic Fury. 6 million meals have been consumed. 2 million energy drinks have been consumed. Those are the stats that we need. That wasn't provided. I'm sorry, Melody.
Meta shares now extend climb to 8.3%. Again, off of the back of the headline that we had earlier on in the day.
Shouldn't the
That was
market
Meta
drop
debuts
now
first
on
AI
that
model
news?
from Price Superintelligence Group.
It's
IRGC,
lunch.
according to state media, says if attack on Lebanon does not end, a regretful response will face the aggressors in the region.
It's lunch, man. It's just this is why I want to leave during this period, because it's just like context wise, everything looks good, but the move takes an hour to play, right? So like it's just not worth sitting here when I could go do literally anything else and not have to watch my price action sideways. So like yeah, I would love for it to happen, but it's just not. It's 10. It's 12 to 2, bud. Like it just takes 2 hours to play. You know. I don't know. Yes, it should, but things take time. Man, I can't even think of the last time I had an energy drink. Like a monster energy drink? I don't know. It's been a while. Is that Celsius? I just use that powder stuff that I told you guys about. 5-hour energy is just the powder, basically, but just in a shot. Like, for being real. I'd take a 5-hour energy if they were like $20 a pop, I swear. They're so expensive. Plus, I take a daily vitamin already. Like, am I going to overdose? Oh. Plus all the drugs, true. I forgot about the meth. I don't know how that's going to interact with that 5-hour energy. Got to be careful. Do I correlate taking care of my health with trading? I do swim every day, but I don't take as much care of myself as I should. But I do try to get my steps in every day, and I do swim. I try to, no matter what, hit 10K steps a day. And I try to swim every night before I go to bed to try to tire myself out. It has yet to help me sleep. it has not been successful. But it's hard for me to say I take care of myself when I average 4 to 5 hours sleep a night. You know what I mean? Like I can't be like, yeah, I'm the pinnacle of health. It's like, no, like my brain is screaming. I'm miserable, you know? like I can't until my sleep is better, like I am not taking care of myself.
Netanyahu to give remarks to media at 5:15 GMT.
I am aware of how much I should be getting, but I just can't do it. Like I cannot do it. I do everything I can. I exercise before I go to bed. I read a book before I go to bed. I have nothing on. Like I just can't sleep, man. It sucks. Yeah. It's really rough.
That'll be 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time.
I don't know, but like from like a heart rate, blood pressure perspective, like I'm very healthy in that sense. But just the sleep is killing me. And sleeping 2 times a day sounds great. I'd love that. I don't know, Ben, I'm not a great person to ask because I have a very hard time with self-control. So I have to go out of my way to really hamper and like sorry, not hamper. Like I have to remind myself very often. And I have to create lots of systems for myself to get shit done because I have horrendous ADHD and I will get nothing done and do nothing and be nothing if I don't like keep myself in check. It is really, really fucking bad. Like I forget to eat. Like I forget to like do basic functions. So I have to like be very strict in my regimen, and like I have to. I basically like I don't know. I mean, I don't want to. I'm gonna sound crazy if I start talking about this, but like I am very structured in my life because without structure, everything falls apart instantly for me. Like absolutely falls apart. like I am like I eat the same meal every day basically kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like everything is structured because without structure like I fall apart as a human being. What app do I use for what? Like my heart rate and all that? My steps? I just have a Whoop that tracks everything. No, I don't have an app that does that. I just have habits. Why is my Whoop not connected?
Schumer is to force a war powers resolution vote next week.
If you find an app, I mean, I'd probably use it, but no, I haven't. I have a hard time with stuff like that because I don't know. I just have to like be really structured and like have like a very clear regimen of like what I want to do, and stick with it, because if I like fuck up at all, I like take advantage of it incredibly. Where like if I don't have exactly what I need to do on a day, or like have built out like accountability where I've like told someone what I'm going to be doing on the day, like I'll just bed rot, man. Like I won't get out. Like it'll just be over. Like my brain will just self-destruct. So I have to be like very structured in what I'm going to do. Or nothing will get done. That's why I really like having an animal, because like that gets me out of the house and like gets me in my steps every day, and like keeps me like, oh, I've got something else I need to take care of. Because if I didn't have that, I don't know what I would do. I really don't know. I don't know. I've gone to like neurologists. I've done everything for my sleep. It just doesn't work. I've taken drugs. It doesn't work. It's very hard. It's been a constant issue my entire life. Oh, well, there's Komodo with his magnesium and YouTube videos. But yeah, no. I don't know. I've gone to lots of specialists. It's been an issue like all the way throughout all of high school even. It sucks, but it is what it is. I need a drug that just like puts me in a coma when I want it. Why is this not? All right. I'm gonna head out. We're holding where we need to for right now. We just have to let this play, and then once we actually see like a solid trap that actually has follow through, then you'll get your next leg. I'm not gonna sit here while we chop sideways. This is why I wanted to leave. Nothing has changed. Just NQ and ES rotating with Russell starting to show weakness below. Things I'd watch out for is just as soon as Russell holds this and gets back below value, that leads to your next leg down. If Russell holds our value low and shows interest over our daily POC, then you go for upside move back up to your 30-second opening range. But I can't. I'm unwilling to sit here and trade chop while we wait for the next 2 hours. But structurally, I don't think anything has changed here. We're just retesting our POC to where this trap was. But I think NQ is just like drifting while we wait for Russell to give context. That's my guess. It's midday, right? Like there's not much. Until we see acceptance outside of ES value and NQ value, you just gotta play this, man. Like you just gotta wait for this to invalidate. We need to either see a very clear hold outside of value, right? Like this is the only context I care about. Is a retest of our value structure with a shift of our POC right back into these highs, and then we retest this, then we go up. Failure outside of our value, any look above is going to result in a lower high, a retest of our value structure, and then a rotation through our range. So that's really all you're waiting for context-wise as we build out this node. Can we sustain above for rotations back up, which would give you, another 80-point move, 90-point move, or a failure in a rotation down that will then allow us to play our larger context. Remember, like this is a 5-minute chart, but this is hourly pathing. Right, so
Iran's menus now
none of this
reporting
matters.
parts of Tehran attacked by enemy on Wednesday.
In the hourly pathing, like we're still holding a very clear lower high of our major sell candle from this morning. So we'll just watch to see where this context is. You know, even something that you could easily do to give an understanding of where we would want to hold is let's just mark the high to the low of this candle. And then you have your 0.5 to 618, right? Like this is where we're watching for that as our reference point of where we expect that offer to sit. So as we come back up at this in the hourly, as long as we're holding this contextually about our halfway point, the trend is still to the downside. And then you're just watching for this rotation through, right? But none of this like choppy action on the 5 doesn't matter between 12 to 2 while we wait for further context. Just keep an eye on that on your hourly candle that we are retracing. If what happens is we push into our halfway back to 618, which would be a drift up to like 140 to 170. So watch that 140 to 170 hourly 0.5 to 618 reoffer area. So that's what I would be watching for. And just watch for that slow drift up while we wait. And then we'll see what happens from there. I don't know, some really great trades this morning, playing off of that 90 offer from this look above, lower high, and then rotation down into our 25K. Yeah, so again, just context-wise, your value is attempting to shift. We're attempting to look for the above. You need to see a very clear shift back below our POC from a look outside of value, which is what we're attempting right now. So if we fail to establish outside, right, then you'll just watch for that reoffer for the same trade back down again. You can see on our profile that we have a node here. This is that halfway back to 618, where we'll watch for that offer to sit as we push into that. And then we'll watch to see if we get that leg back down. But until then, right, you're just building outside of value between this and this. Okay. Until I see clear interest over 220, I expect that this is just going to be kind of like a choppy, shitty zone. Once we see interest outside of this, then we can play this back up to like 370. But again, like that's just the higher time frame idea, which is then we'd be trading up into this node. Just like we did last time, right? We have so much of a reference point. Look at where we are. We traded in this multi-week balance for so long, so we should be aware of what happens in these areas. We understand how choppy we are here. We can see that reoffer that we're looking for. Look at this. You see how this is the same context from this last attempt that we traded into this, and we pushed down below that 25K, and then we came back up into this 170 area. Yeah. And we then reoffered and then went lower, and then we did this full move. Do we see any commonality here with what we're doing there and what's happening now? There might be a pattern going on here, so we'll have to watch that. But just keep this as a reference point of what happened on in March. All right, you guys have a good rest of your session, and I will talk to you later. See you tomorrow.